the Law of One Breakdown channel. Have you ever wondered what the raw material actually says about Jesus, free will, sexuality, and even hair? Each week we go straight to the original sessions and explore one topic through the pure wisdom of the Law of One. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy this subject. Let's begin. Welcome to the Law of One Breakdown. Today we're going to dive into one of the most unusual and, for many people, life-changing bodies of spiritual literature in the late 20th century. It's called the Law of One, also known as the Raw Contact. We'll get into that in a little bit. If you've ever stumbled across phrases like, I am raw, harvest, service to others, service to self, densities, mind, spirit, body complex, chances are that you've brushed up against this material. So what exactly is it? Who is this entity calling itself raw? And how did 3 people in Kentucky end up publishing 5 books of channeled conversations with a 6th density being? Well, let's find out. Okay, first, a little bit of history. The story begins with an aviation engineer, and he was a physics professor named Don Elkins. Don had been fascinated by UFO contactee accounts for a very long time, and along with his partner, Carla, and a rotating cast of students, they tried to scientifically investigate how channeling actually worked. For years, they ran experiments, teaching people to channel, recording hundreds of sessions, and trying to contact what they believed were extraterrestrial or higher dimensional intelligences. Most of what came through was fairly low level or inconsistent until January 15th, 1981. That night in their home in Kentucky, something entirely different happened. Carla, who is one of the trio that brought this through, Carla, Dawn, and Jim. Okay, so Carla, who had become a remarkably clear trance-channeler. Trance-channeler is a channeler who is able to basically let her consciousness leave her body. She goes and takes a powder someplace else, and something comes through her body and speaks through her. Her personality is not there. So a trance channeling is pretty profound stuff because, depending on what's coming through, but it can be pretty profound. But anyway, Carla had become very, very good at trance channeling. So anyway, she went into a deep trance as usual one day, and instead of the usual disincarnate entities or confused voices that they typically had, a new voice spoke with perfect clarity and a strange formal cadence. And this voice says, I am Ra. So that's how it all started. Okay, the group asked who they were, and the answer kind of stunned them. Ra said, we are those known to you as Ra. We are a social memory complex of 6th density from the planet Venus, approximately 2.6 billion of your years in the past. Okay, so then over the next 3 years, between January of 1981 and February of 84, Ra would speak through Carla in 106 trance sessions and producing over 1,700 pages of transcribed material. So who is Ra? And according to the material itself, Ra describes itself as not a single being, but an entire unified civilization. And it's what they call a social memory complex. Social memory complexes are later in evolution. Earth is definitely not social memory complex ready. We are known as mind-body-spirit complexes, meaning where each and every one of us are individualized, let's just say. Social memory complexes is when a society or a group come together. It's not necessarily a group mind, but they all are telepathic with one another. And they share a similar vision or quest or belief or anyway, an entire society can be part of a social memory complex or certain groups within a society. They just naturally start to happen as evolution cranks forward. And since the raw folks are sixth density, they are definitely in social memory complexes. Okay, so let's see. They claim to have visited Earth in physical craft roughly 11,000 years ago to help humanity. They built the Great Pyramid as a healing and initiation chamber, and then withdrew after their teachings were distorted by the priests and the hierarchies, and their teachings were used to control the people, not free them. After that failure, Ra and the rest of what they called the Confederation of Planets, in the service of the one infinite creator, decided to obey the law of free will. The law of free will is to leave people alone, let them evolve. So anyway, they decided to obey the law of free will more strictly and only offer to help when specifically asked. Otherwise, they karmically bind themselves if they come in just out of the kindness of their hearts and try to give you some higher teachings, and then somebody screws it all up and starts using those teachings to keep people subservient in some way or form or another. Anyway, then these higher beings now are karmically bound because by accident, their teachings kind of took the free will out of the people who are now being ruled over, let's just say. Okay, so now let's fast forward millions of years in their timeline, and you're now in the 1980s. And we'll get to the timelines and how they're in the past, yet they're so much further in the future and what that all means in future videos. It all makes sense when you understand the densities and whatnot. So anyway, fast forward millions of years of their timeline, and now we're in the 80s on planet Earth. They saw Earth approaching the end of a major cycle. It's the 75,000 year cycle. It's the end of third density. It's what they call the harvest. That's also going to be in another video if you're interested in understanding what that all means. Yeah, and so they're interested in helping out at this harvest time. Basically, it's the end of third density. We're going into fourth, and they said that they had decided the time was right to offer a pure, undistorted message again. They needed three things, though. One, a channel who could leave her body or his body completely and hold the tuning perfectly, which was Carla. Okay. They needed two, a questioner with rigorous scientific and philosophical training. That's where Don comes in, very analytical, very, very much like that. And then three, they needed a scribe and a supporter to keep the group grounded and protected. And that is where Jim came in. So the three of them, later in the books, you'll find out that they have spent past lifetimes together. They are, in fact, a good working group together and whatnot, but that's down the line. Okay, so the sessions themselves were intense. Carla was in full trance. She was unaware of anything said. She lost it says she lost between 20 and 40 pounds during the contact period. The channeling was physically taxing. And also, we know that she was constantly attacked by some of the Orion folks, okay? And the books and the episodes, we'll get into those as well. Don asks meticulously prepared questions, often pushing Ra on metaphysics, physics, wanderers, polarity, the nature of time, space, and space-time, and even the UFO phenomena. Jim transcribed every word in real time and performed the rituals to challenge the contact in the name of Christ to make sure it stayed positive. They set up a bunch of stuff via what Ra told them to keep everything on the positive note. I believe Carla was a Christian. They might have all been. I just don't recall, but I believe that Carla was. And so they used the Bible and white candles and stuff like that to keep the negativity at bay and keep the positive energy. They ended up with 5 books. Here they are, and the sessions that were involved. Okay, and basically the core teaching, the law of one, is deceptively simple. Basically, Ra says all things, all beings, all galaxies are manifestations of a single infinite creator. Separation is an illusion. Everything is one. Free will and love are the fundamental energies of the universe, and our primary choice in third density, that's where we are right now, is how to respond to other selves, other people, other situations, with service to others, the positive path, or service to self, the negative path. Ra says Earth is graduating into a fourth density positive planet, but the transition is messy because many souls are still polarized negatively or just simply confused. So according to Ra's teachings and the law of one, everyone in third density, which is we're at the tail end of third density on planet Earth, but this goes for all planets in this universe. All third density, doesn't matter what species you are, you have a choice to make. And the choice propels you on your future incarnations, playing around in these spaces. Not your soul space necessarily, but your incarnative space. And whether you choose service to self, which is considered negatively polarized, not evil, it can be, but not necessarily, or you choose service to others, which is considered positively polarized. But I've known a lot of quote unquote good people, and they're a lacking, let's just say. So it doesn't matter what you choose. It's really where your heart is and what lies deep within you of your actual choice. Doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter. Everything represents, right? But at the same time, to sum up, the law of one is nothing short of profound. At least that's the way it was for me. That's why I'm so passionate about it. It rang true. It answered so many questions that I had, still have. It's the source that I literally go to when I have questions just about anything. Because Don really did ask a lot of questions. He didn't ask a lot of questions too. There's many things that I would have liked to have known about that he never did ask, but it was also back in the 80s. A lot of the language didn't exist yet, So anyway, it's very profound work. If you resonate with it, then you're probably supposed to hear it in one degree or another. It took me 3 or 4 tries years ago to pick that book up and start reading it. I would try, and then I'd be like, what in the heck what is this? Because there's definitely a little bit of a learning curve because of a lot of the way that Ra describes things is different than the way we describe things. Like Ra never says human being or a person on Earth. Ra says mind, body, spirit complex. That's what Ra calls human beings. Mind, body, spirit complex. And so there's a learning curve of learning the lingo. And I'm going to put together a little tiny, maybe 5-minute, here's here's the most used terms. And if you memorize these handfuls of terms, then you'll get through reading the Law of One. Or if you watch these videos, you'll understand what the heck I'm even talking about. I try to explain as I go along, but sometimes I forget. Just keep powering through. So anyway, hopefully this gives you a nice little snippet of what the Law of One is, how it came through, and really how profound it is. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and until the next one. Thanks, everyone.